Ever wonder how some people manage to spend $800 on a sushi dinner without ever thinking twice, and then somehow still keep growing their bank accounts in the blink of an eye? Just think about it for a second. Look at the folks who always seem 2 steps ahead, like they have a secret cheat code to life. They literally never boast about it. They rarely talk about it, and yet their wealth just keeps climbing like it's nothing. In today's video, I'm going to reveal 12 money moves only the upper class understand, which honestly almost never gets talked about. And when I say never talk about, I mean unless they're 3 martinis deep at their exclusive country club. By the time you finish watching, I plan to dish on the kind of insider secrets you wish your rich neighbor would spill, but never does. So without wasting any more time, let's dive in. Number 12, debt isn't always evil, if you're rich enough. All right, you know the old saying, avoid debt like the plague? Well, apparently that's just for us peasants. This is the first point I want you to take from this video. The wealthy don't just avoid debt, they embrace it like an old friend who helps them buy a 3rd beach house for Airbnb. Now, before I explain more, you need to know that the rich understand that not all debt is created equal. There's the kind of debt that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. with sweaty palms. Credit card debt at 20% interest? Yeah, you might be the one I'm talking to right now. And then there's the kind of debt that makes you money while you sleep. That's the good stuff. And guess what? Most upper-class individuals lean on it like a best friend. Picture this. A well-off entrepreneur takes out a loan at a historically low interest rate, say 3%, to buy a rental property in a booming market. Meanwhile, the property's annual return might be 8%, 10%, or even higher once you factor in appreciation, rent, and maybe some strategic renovations. So basically, they're borrowing cheap money to make more expensive money. It's like borrowing your cousin's Netflix password to binge an entire show. Only in this case, they're binging on profits. But here's where the hush-hush part kicks in. The wealthy don't parade around bragging about how much money they borrow. They brag about how many real estate properties they own, how many businesses they've funded, or how well their portfolio's doing. Now, if you're thinking, wait a second, isn't debt basically financial quicksand? Yes, bad debt is. But the upper class are like ninjas. They flip that quicksand into a stepping stone because they know how to make an extra 5% on the difference. That's pure gold over time. Now, ready for a move so smooth it's borderline sneaky? Number 11, networking as a currency. It's about who you know. All right, let's talk about your circle, the folks you rub shoulders with. This is one of the most important points, and unfortunately, it's also one of the most common mistakes I see young people make. There's a reason you've probably never heard the phrase, self-made millionaire with 0 connections. Because guess what? Connections are currency too. And the upper class carefully curates their circle, like it's the guest list for the Met Gala. Now, don't misunderstand me though, it's not trying to say you need to turn away well-meaning friends. Although, let's be real, some people do actually do that. It's about finding people who can elevate your thinking, challenge your ideas, and open doors you didn't even know existed. Ever wonder why the high rollers belong to private clubs, business associations, or exclusive masterminds? It's because powerful people tend to stick together. The synergy that happens in those circles is insane. Like if Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Oprah decided to host a dinner party. As we discussed in previous videos, rich people don't just collect money. They collect contacts. They cultivate real relationships. Networking is their favorite sport, and contacts are the currency. Your net worth is quite literally your network. And knowing the right people opens doors even money can't pry open. But they don't brag about it, do they? You won't hear them say, I'm so wealthy because I met Mr. X, who introduced me to Mrs. Y, who opened the door to this multi-million-dollar deal. They'll typically attribute it to hard work and timing. Sure, those matter, but so does who you know. It's been that way since the dawn of time. Imagine having someone in every important room, your personal army of gatekeepers, ready to help you conquer your financial goals. By the way, if you want to learn more about developing the stealth wealth mindset, go back and watch our financial freedom series we created on the channel to fully understand and aid you on your journey to wealth. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, if none of that excites you, there's one thing that honestly is a requirement if you're truly serious about mastering this entire money game. Number 10, hiring experts and actually listening to them. Let me tell you a not-so-secret secret. The truly wealthy rarely do it all alone. They've got a crack team of financial advisors, accountants, attorneys, and maybe even psychic mediums, whatever floats their boat, to ensure every angle is covered. And here's the kicker: they actually use the advice they get. Shocking, I know. Imagine paying big bucks for a top-tier CPA, then ignoring everything they tell you. That's the average person's approach. Buy a book on investing, read 3 chapters, then do the exact opposite of what the book says. The upper class, on the other hand, invests in the best advisors and follows their guidance. They see it as an integral part of their wealth-building engine, not an optional add-on. Now, you might be thinking, I can't afford a personal finance dream team, and that's fair enough. The good news is that I have a simple solution for you, and all you need to do is find a mentor who's been there and done that to guide you. The point is, the rich treat professional advice as an asset, not a liability. Sure, they might spend tens of thousands a year on legal, financial, and business counsel, but they often save or make hundreds of thousands, even millions, because of that counsel. All right, now this next one might be a snoozer, but it's something that is vital in your growth as a business, and it's something I need to discuss with you seriously, so pay attention. Number 9, taxes, the rich person's favorite game. Okay, taxes, the ultimate conversation buzzkill. But if you're serious about wealth, you need to get serious about taxes. And this is an important point I've been wanting to tell you. The upper class don't just wait until April 14th to panic about forms and receipts. They plan their taxes all year long, like it's a grand chess match. You see, they might structure their businesses in certain ways, maybe setting up an S-corp or an LLC, sometimes even a family trust, so income can be distributed more favorably. They invest in tax-efficient funds, utilize 1031 exchanges for real estate to defer capital gains, or max out retirement accounts, HSAs, and any other acronym the government allows. And guess what? They do all this legally. They're just using the system as it's written. Trust me, I already know that taxes for you and me are about as enjoyable as stepping on Legos, but for the wealthy, taxes are just a delightful puzzle, like Sudoku, but with accountants. Now here's the part I need you to understand. Ever wonder why billionaires pay less tax than their assistant's dog walker? It's because they're playing chess while you're playing Candyland. With perfectly legal strategies like depreciation, deductions, and loopholes bigger than a billionaire's yacht, the upper class effectively reduces their taxable income. For instance, buying assets that depreciate on paper, hello luxury real estate, lets them report losses while actually gaining wealth. Now, since I've talked about this topic extensively, I often get asked a recurring question. Why don't rich people talk about taxes openly? Well, because taxes are about as exciting as watching paint dry for most people. And also because if everyone did it, certain loopholes might close, so it stays behind closed doors. But let's be real. You can learn these strategies too. Just take some reading, a good CPA, and a willingness to plan before tax season hits. Speaking of real estate, ready for another jaw-dropping move? Number 8, real estate isn't just homes, it's monopoly in real life. I've said this more times than I can count, but I'll say it again. The rich don't just buy real estate, they strategically conquer it. We're talking about commercial buildings, duplexes, apartment complexes, even parking lots. Why parking lots? Because cars have to sleep somewhere too, right? Real estate provides passive income through rents, appreciation, and tax breaks. It's like planting money seeds that sprout into lush cash trees while you nap on your silk sheets. If property as a passive cash printer excites you, the next move will make your jaw hit the marble floor. Number 7, protecting your assets the right way. All right, now let's talk about asset protection. Because what's the point of building a fortune if one unexpected lawsuit or disaster can tear it all away faster than you can say, I object? The upper class invests heavily in insurance. Life insurance, umbrella insurance, business liability insurance, you name it. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. They might set up LLCs, LPs, or trusts to legally separate their personal assets from their businesses. So if one venture goes belly up, it doesn't drag down their entire empire. Think of it like building individual compartments in a ship. If one gets flooded, the whole vessel doesn't sink. Smart, right? Now, insurance isn't exactly the sexiest thing to talk about at a cocktail party, But behind every successful business mogul is an army of lawyers and insurance agents drafting bulletproof contracts and coverage policies. This is how they sleep soundly at night, knowing that if a catastrophic event happens, their entire net worth isn't on the chopping block. The average person, they might have a basic policy on their home or car, but never explore specialized coverage or advanced legal structures. Then, when trouble hits, they're left picking up the pieces. The wealthy, they're effectively Teflon. Lawsuits and disasters slide right off, leaving their core wealth intact. And trust me, I get it. Insurance sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry. But for the wealthy, certain life insurance policies become secret vaults to store cash, tax-free. Imagine buying life insurance that accumulates cash value over time, borrowing against it tax-free, and never actually paying that money back because the policy itself covers it. It's like having a magical ATM card that doesn't charge fees or ask annoying questions. But wait, there's an even more shocking way the rich grow their wealth. Number 6, access to private equity and hedge funds. While the rest of us struggle with the Robinhood app, the rich invest in private equity and hedge funds, exclusive clubs where entry fees are literally millions. Think of hedge funds as supercharged stock investments on steroids. They buy companies, flip them for profit, or restructure entire industries. It's Shark Tank meets Game of Thrones, minus the dragons, usually. This is a topic I want to dedicate a separate video to if there's any interest. Now, if hedge funds sound like exclusive parties, let's talk about the ultimate power play. Number 5, using other people's money, OPM. Now that we've covered private equity, let's get back to the most underrated strategies to building wealth. Ever hear the phrase, "It takes money to make money"? For the wealthy, it actually takes someone else's money. Rich folks use OPM, other people's money, to finance their ventures. Banks, private investors, or even your grandma's savings could fund their next empire. It's like throwing an epic party at someone else's mansion, and you get to keep all the gifts. Speaking of epic parties, guess how the upper class stays rich across generations? Number 4, trust funds and generational wealth. All right, look, I need to address something real quick, so pay attention. Trust funds aren't just for spoiled heirs on reality TV shows. They're strategic tools the wealthy use to pass money down tax efficiently and securely. Think of trusts as financial nannies, watching and nurturing wealth across generations, making sure the family fortune doesn't vanish faster than your latest paycheck. Now, trust funds are great, but there's one sneaky advantage the upper class wields in tandem with top-notch advice. It's something that shapes how they spend every minute of their day. Number 3, treating time as the most valuable currency. Before I explain how to do it, let me remind you of a quote I always repeat. Time is money. Everyone's heard that phrase. But for the upper class, time isn't just money. It's their most precious asset, and they guard it with the intensity of a dragon protecting gold. Let's break it down. You notice how wealthy folks often have personal assistants, housekeepers, or even a team that manages day-to-day tasks? It's not just about living in luxury or too lazy to wash dishes. It's about buying back hours. Hours they can spend building new businesses, nurturing important relationships, or simply recharging so they can make sharper decisions later on. You might see them hopped on a private jet and think, wow, that's fancy. In reality, they see it as saving time, skipping lines, avoiding delays, and landing closer to their actual destination. Every saved minute can be reinvested in something profitable or fulfilling, which over the long haul yields exponential returns. Contrast that with the average person who might spend 3 hours waiting for a flight connection or another 2 hours grocery shopping every Sunday. Activities the wealthy outsource or streamline. Sure, not everyone can do that from day one, but once you've got disposable income, you can outsource the chores that don't bring you joy or income. Because every minute you free up can go towards scaling your hustle or resting your brain so you can be more effective. Ready for another behind-the-curtain move? Let's talk diversification like you've never heard before. 2. Extreme diversification. More eggs, more baskets. It's hard to explain this in detail, but here's what you need to understand. The upper class diversifies their income to extremes. Stocks, bonds, startups, cryptocurrency, vintage cars. Basically, they spread their investments wider than peanut butter on toast. Think of it like financial Tetris, fitting all pieces perfectly, ensuring one loss never topples their empire. And finally, the last secret move the wealthy master without batting an eyelash. Number 1, financial education, their secret weapon. You might think that once someone's made it to the top, they kick back, sip margaritas, and coast on autopilot. But the real heavy hitters, they're in constant learning mode. We're talking reading new books, enrolling in specialized courses, attending workshops, or even hiring personal coaches. Because guess what? The world's always changing, and they're determined to stay ahead. It's not just about reading the occasional finance blog either. They dive deep into emerging industries, new tech, global trends, anything that might yield an edge. This is how they spot the next Amazon, the next Tesla, or the next big wave in biotech before the average Joe even learns how to pronounce biotechnology. And when a shift happens in the market, they're not blindsided. They adapt, they pivot, they evolve. Meanwhile, the average person might say, "Ugh, I finished college, I'm done learning," or they only study when forced by their job. That's like updating your smartphone software once a decade. It's going to lag and crash eventually. The wealthy treat new knowledge like top-shelf fuel, constantly upgrading themselves. And here's the hush-hush part. They don't just brag about reading 52 books a year on Instagram. They internalize the knowledge, then use it behind the scenes to make moves you only hear about after the fact. It's subtle, but it's powerful. The wealthy constantly learn about investing, economics, new trends, even psychology. It's not nerdy, it's necessary. Knowledge keeps them ahead. Picture it as updating software, constantly improving their brain to stay financially dominant. In fact, if you really want to know how average people are literally making millions in 2025, there's one specific technique that they follow, and I cover exactly what it is in this next video. Just click the video on the screen now, and we'll see you there.